We all bring unconscious biases into the workplace, and these subconscious attitudes span gender, race, age, appearance, and much more. They influence everything from our corporate culture to how we perceive someone's performance. Unconscious biases exist for good reason. Just a few thousand years ago, they were helping us survive in the wild. So we are hardwired to have these biases. But in 2018, they get in the way of progress. They pervade every step of the corporate process, from job description to recruitment to promotion, and they result in women losing out on opportunities and pay. A venture capital firm in Silicon Valley recently shared this story. Identical award-winning pitches were shared with investors blind, so only the voice of the narrator was changed. 2/3 of the investors chose to invest in the male voice, and just 1/3 in the female voice. The results were the same whether the investor was a man or a woman. The pitches were identical. It's just the gender of the narrator that was changed. This is unconscious bias. And what do companies do to tackle unconscious bias? They run diversity training courses, which go anywhere from 1 to 3 days. What chance does a 3-day training course have to rewire a primal bias? Zero, obviously. The billions of dollars being spent each year on diversity training are a total waste of time and money. In the first episode of the When Women Win podcast, I had the pleasure of interviewing Professor Iris Bonet of Harvard University, who wrote a book called What Works? Gender Equality in the Workplace. Her extensive research has found no evidence that diversity training actually changes behavior. This was a huge aha for me, because then I realized why, despite all this talk about getting women to the top of corporations, we haven't managed to do so. We've identified the right problem and then given it the wrong solution. So if diversity training doesn't work, what works? De-biasing institutions. This means changing everyday systems and processes to circumvent gender bias. From the boardroom to the classroom, Iris lays out a set of tools that we need to help us design organizations in a way that mitigates unconscious gender bias. It starts by collecting data to understand the extent and the source of gender inequality in your organization. From there, you experiment with multiple process changes that might close the gender gap. Technology will likely play a huge role here, from improving job descriptions to predicting employee performance. Finally, once all the data is in, you can implement permanent system and process changes. Sounds a lot better than shoving this down people's throats through expensive diversity training, don't you think? Yeah, I do too. Thank you for watching this video. Please feel free to share it widely, especially with someone you think might benefit from it. And if you'd like to check out more of my stuff, please go to rananawas.com.